Hey everyone, welcome back. This is Dr. Nishtha Jain and today we'll be learning even in more details about rows and columns. So in the last lecture we saw how to select or how to insert or delete a single row or a single column, right? Today we'll be seeing how to insert or delete multiple rows and columns. Okay, so before doing this, we should first know how to select multiple rows and columns, right? Isn't it? So how do you select a single row? You just go here on the number and click on it, of course with your left mouse button, right? You just click on it and the whole row gets selected, right? Similarly, how do you select a column? You just click on the column heading, that is the column name, and the whole column gets selected. Simple. Now how to select multiple columns? Just click on this column or whichever column you want to start with. Okay, suppose you want to select column F to L. How do you do it? F pe you will click, okay, and keep it clicked on it, okay, in the sense just keep it clicked here and drag it along till L. Did you understand? Let's do it again. Click on F, okay, the name of the column, and drag it along till L with the single click, okay. With the first click you made on F, the single click will be dragged along till L. This is how you select multiple columns. One more thing you can do is with the keyboard, just select this F, press shift and the right arrow key till L, right? So both ways are okay, fine. That depends on you, whatever you are comfortable with. Similarly, how do you select multiple rows? Click on a single row, shift and down. If not, you can click on a single row and again drag it till whichever row you want, okay. This is how you select consecutive columns and rows. Understood? Now, how do you select rows and columns which are not consecutive or adjacent to each other? For example, you want to select F, then you want to select maybe J, then you want to select M. How do you do it? So, just click on F again, press Ctrl, then you click on J, then M and so. Understood? So, consecutive rows and columns, shift plus arrow keys you can use or directly you can drag it along. For the columns or rows which are not consecutive or adjacent to each other, what you can do, press Ctrl, hold it and click on the respective column or row you are interested in. I hope that's clear, guys. Yes? Okay. Now, let's see one more thing. How to insert or delete rows and columns, multiple rows and columns. Okay. So, suppose you want to insert some column here maybe, or see, how do you insert one column? We already know. Right click, insert, one column, insert it. Right? Now, how do you do it for multiple columns? See, so how much ever number of columns you want to insert, please understand this carefully. How much ever number of columns you want to insert, just select that number of columns. For example, you want to insert maybe 5 columns. So, starting from E, we can select 5 columns here, okay. Now again right click and insert. 5 more columns will be inserted. So the number of columns you select, that number of columns will only be inserted. So if you have just selected one column, only one column will be inserted. If you have selected 5 columns, 5 more columns will be inserted. Yeah, I hope that's clear. Okay, now let's get back to rows. Now how do you insert multiple rows? In the same way, just like you inserted columns, okay. So suppose you want to insert these rows, okay. So what will you do? Right click, insert, and that number of rows, that many number of rows will be inserted there. Is this clear? Yes or no? Yes? Okay. Now let's see one more thing, guys. Let's see how to delete multiple rows and columns. So just see, in Excel or in any other software, what happens is, especially in Microsoft, suite of applications, what happens is when you want to select multiple things, usually you use Shift or Control, okay? And whatever you are trying to do, that will be completely visible there, okay? So you won't get confused ki, ye kya hua? I didn't understand this. What happened? No, you will never get confused with that. Okay, so we've already seen about inserting multiple rows and columns. Now let's quickly see about deleting these. So these rows we have just inserted, right? So these 6 to 11, okay, I'm sorry for this. Yeah, Now I want to delete these rows. I inserted them by mistake. See, okay. What do? Again, right click and delete, and we're done. The same is for columns. Yes, I hope it's being clear to you all, guys. So suppose, there is some office meeting going on, okay? And there is a particular row or a particular column which you do not want to show others in the meeting. You want to keep it to yourself, okay? But you also don't want to delete it. So what do? You can actually hide that row or column. Yes, that's possible. So let's see how we can do it. Suppose you want to hide these negative, values wala rows, okay? So how do you do it? Just select these, of course, by pressing the shift key and the arrow key, or by your mouse button. Any way you can do it. Suppose I want to hide all of these rows from 7 to 15. What do I do now? I don't want to delete them. I want to, I want those rows to get recovered later on after the meeting, but I don't want to show them right now. How do you do it? You will just select them, right click anywhere there, and click on hide. So let's see it properly. From June to February, it will be hidden. Okay, so hide, and they are hidden. So how do you recover them now? How do you do it? Right click anywhere, and do you find unhide option? No. Now, can you see these two lines here? Can you see this? Yes, let me zoom it for you. Okay, can you see these two lines here? These dual lines. I guess I should show it to you by marking. Yeah, you remember we had hidden rows 7 to 15, right? So 6 to 16 ke beech mein there are two lines, two very thin lines. So there you will find an option to actually unhide the rows which you had hidden. Unhide them, what you will do now, see the numbers between which the rows you had hidden, right? So the numbers between which the rows were hidden, in the sense between 6 and 16. So row number 6 and row number 16. You will select these two rows and you will press Ctrl plus Shift plus 9, and you see all the rows are back. Okay. Another way here is, how do you unhide the rows which you had hidden? Another way is, can you see this home tab? Under the home tab, go to this format option in the group of cells. Okay, this is the group, right? Do you remember? Go to the format option, go here to hide and unhide. Then you go to unhide rows. So this is another way in which you can actually unhide the rows which you had hidden. But of course, this is a longer way, right? Isn't it? So always prefer to use your mouse buttons, okay, for easier and quicker solutions for everything, right? Now, yet another way is what? Just right click after selecting these two rows and unhide. So here are the three ways in which you can actually unhide the rows which you had hidden, right? The same thing goes for columns also. So suppose you want to hide these three columns. What do? You will select all three of them, right click and hide. Now, how do you unhide them? You select D and H, because the columns which you had hidden, they were between D and H. You will select these two columns, right click and unhide. One way. Okay, another way, Ctrl Shift 9. Now if you see, this thing works only for the rows which were hidden and not for the columns. So please remember these shortcuts which I am telling you. Ctrl plus Shift plus 9. This is for unhiding rows and not columns. Okay, so please remember this Ctrl Shift 9 is for unhiding rows and not columns. So I hope you have written this down. Now let's get back to our columns which we had hidden. So which was the another way? See, one is by right clicking, right? By clicking on the right mouse button and unhide. Another way is what? Again, you go to this format option here under the home tab, hide and unhide columns, and the columns are back. Yes, so I hope guys it's clear how to insert and how to hide, how to delete, how to unhide the rows and columns. So these are just a few things in which we can play along with the rows and the columns. So now I'll meet you in the next lecture and I'll tell you how to freeze panes, okay, how to freeze certain rows and columns, right? So now I'll meet you in the next lecture. So till then, please keep studying, keep smiling, and take care. Bye.